10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
You are now tuned.
If you have a request or shout out, hit us up live in the studio. And now your host.
And welcome back, ladies and gents, to your favorite show, Let's Talk Showbiz. Today we are going to do a telephonic interview with Puno Selesho. Exciting new things for our studio.
But first, let's take a quick introduction to our guest.
Yes. Puno is a poet, content creator, thought leader, event planner, voice-over artist, and a speaker, and loves writing. She lives and breathes creativity, and being a thinker and strategist, she can bring her best ideas to life. Puno says, I believe I can turn anything into content that people can relate to. I exist to inspire, bring hope, and equip people. I believe we can make this world more beautiful by simply being ourselves.
Now, not only is she the events organizer and coordinator of the beloved Spoken Session events, catering as a platform for artists in the world of music, poetry, and spoken word, but she is also well known as a poet herself who has performed her poems titled She and To Be Human Again at the Republica conference in Berlin, Germany in 2017.
Wow. And she was commissioned by the King James Advertising Agency to create poems for the Showcase 4 products at the Sanlam Handmade Contemporary Fair in 2016, which was followed by her next piece titled Her Story, written and performed by the TBN Women's Month for the promotion video that won a Promax Africa Award in 2016.
Yes. Oh, that is amazing. Wow. 2016 brought 2017 her poem I Am an African, featured on the Swiss jazz album More Fufu, in collaboration with Feya Faku and Dominique Egli. She continued to perform poetry sets at the Innovation Summit 2016 and 2017 and at the Global Leadership Summit in 2017. And she performed her poem She at the CSSD Health Conference and at the 3M Women's Day event, both in 2017.
With 2017, Puno also performed the opening poetry act at the International Poetry Group P4CM, as well as at the International Hip Hop Artist Propaganda event, and also opened for the international poet and musician Joseph Solomon.
2018 brought performances of her piece titled Daughter to the launch of the Youth Employment Service and later to the Youth Day celebrations hosted by the Department of Arts and Culture. She also performed her piece How to Wear Africa at the Unilever Sustainable Living Project event.
Oh, wow. We will be sure to post some of these links to her pieces on our Facebook page soon so that you can follow them and check them out. Puno also has a repertoire of TV presenting and voiceover work, including the TV presenting at the Green City Startup and Josie My Beginning, which was distributed on DSTV channel 319 for Mindset Learn. And some of the promo features voiceovers for a video promoting the Tswane leadership and a foundation created by Jesse Palmer and more.
She's truly an incredible woman that has done so much and seems to be continuously inspiring people.
Through the world of poetry, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. So stay tuned to find out more about the Spoken Sessions and other platforms and the work that Puno Selesho has brought and is continued to bringing to the South African table.
Yes, we're going to take a quick break before the interview, so stay tuned. Here is Puno's poem, I Am an African.
I am an African. Typical lines. With it comes tradition and religion. You sit there with expectations of rich soil, beautiful grasslands, people with extreme African dark tans. Well, I have concrete and pits of sand, milky skin surrounding me. My stars move with flight, and out of my townhouse windows I see them, then quickly out of sight. Clicks and beats you desire to roll off my tongue, but instead you hear evidence of previous colonies formed by British sons. You desire my eyes to feast on Jam magazine, but I'm holding my fair lady. Similarly, I'll ignore generations for glee. My plate is not filled with samp and beans, but sushi, beef fillets, all trimmed and lean, close to Master Chef regime. I chuckle as my fellow shaded brothers and sisters say, Ufana na mlungu. Huh? I tell them to translate what they convey. The mockery continues in vernac It's like a membership in the Black United community is what I lack. Am I not an African too? Has my upbringing in the suburbs made me lose my roots? I've lost my label of black and a coconut is what I've been tagged. But today, I refuse to allow your pencil to draw a picture of who I am, for I am as African as the music in life, the beat, the melody, and the tune. I have a twinkle in my eye that reflects the sub-Saharan moon. I am a daughter of this land. I am a child of Azania. I love my country, and I celebrate my modern culture. So today, I remove these limitations, and I claim my identity back, because an African is exactly what I am.
Brandlife.co.za is Thought Leadership Radio. It's a new way to communicate your brand, your value, and what you think about your industry. Be a leader.
You'll never stop at one. I'll take you all on.
Be your voice.
I have a dream.
And we will help you shape your industry. Our radio platform is for thought leaders who want to share insights, businesses who want to create value for their databases, organizations who want to control their message, for those that drive change. Make your brand come alive on brandlife.co.za, harnessing the power of talk radio.
Live from 27 boxes in the heart of Melville, this is brandlive.co.za.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Showbiz. If you just tuned in, we're live here in the studio at the 27 Boxes for a third episode of the season 2. And in studio with us, we have the awesome and fabulous Puno.
Hi, Puno.
Hi, everybody.
This
Hey.
is tuned in at Let's Talk Showbiz Radio, and next to me is my co-host and friend Niku Barnard. How are you?
I am so well. Thank you so much for having me on your show. So this is really cool. It's such a pleasure.
Thank you so much for taking our call and sitting in with the show. We know that you couldn't unfortunately make it in studio, but we're so excited to speak to you over the telephone. Glad to have you on the show with us. And we just shared your career bio with our listeners. By the way, what a repertoire of work. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I wish I could say that I could do it all in my sleep, but yeah, it takes more than that.
So we have a few questions for you, kicking off with your spoken sessions initiative. So, what is Spoken Sessions? What is the platform's vision and aim other than business?
So Spoken Sessions started about 6 years ago, and it really was solely to bring poets together into one space, just so they can have a platform to share their work, to grow in their work. It was never supposed to be a place where sort of big headline names perform. It was supposed to be a place where the smaller guys perform and eventually go on to become the big guys. It's a place where people can be safe and people can try out stuff. And now we've evolved to also include musicians and things. Our little tagline is basically providing platforms and places for poets and performers. And no matter what form or what type of event we create around that, we make sure that stays at the heart of what we do. And we're mainly based in Pretoria. That's home for us.
Oh, awesome.
That's amazing. So when is your next Spoken Session event?
Our next session is actually happening the 7th of March. So we are partnering with 012 Central, which is the precinct that's just sprung up, or that has been actually developing at the heart of Pretoria.
Oh, great.
And we're joining in for their first Thursday's event. Yeah, so that's a free event. We're going to have 3 acts on stage, 2 bands and 1 poet, and we'll be on there at 8 o'clock.
Sure.
That's amazing. So for everyone that's in the area, make sure that you go head through to the event.
We'll be there.
It sounds awesome. So how did the Spoken Session start, or how did it come to surface for you?
So there were two incredible individuals, one Kurt Schroeder and the other Shaylee Bloom. They started it in Kurt's mom's living room, actually. Both of them are poets, and both of them were frustrated with the fact that they couldn't perform anywhere, and there wasn't a community of poets for them in Pretoria. And I stumbled upon them in 2014, performed at their open mic, won one of the sessions, and I was just in love with it since then. So I started volunteering there, and just because of like consistency and really engaging with the community there, I eventually got to take it over. So it's grown leaps and bounds. It's changed since it's obviously passed through many hands. But what we've appreciated the most is just the amount of support that people have continued to show, and the regulars that have stayed over the years, and the new people and everything. It's just been passionate people trying to drive something that they want to see in Pretoria.
Yeah, I think that's amazing.
I think the reality of the fact is that there's been a hunger for spoken word and different art forms that South Africa thus far has not catered for, because there's an assumption that there's not a market. And I think when you started, people were so hungry for it that they just, dived right in and sold out. So I personally, I'm very stoked and excited that it exists. I remember my first one was I came to you and I was like, oh my word, what is this? Where has it been all my life?
Absolutely, absolutely. We've noticed that, especially in a city like Pretoria, that is a city full of students, but also like young families and things like that. The sort of creative spaces and the entertainment scene is very one. You either go to a club, or you go to the movies, or you go out for burgers. And there's not much in between. There's not much for the people who want to have wine and listen to poetry and music and things like that. So it was really cool that we found that gap in the market. And there's still so much room for other different movements to come in and to fill that space. We're not trying to monopolize it at all. There's a lot more that can happen and that should happen.
I think it's definitely going to inspire a whole new business platform out there in the world for South Africa, which is great. So you mentioned that there's not a large market, or at least platform, for poets. How has that by any chance increased apart from the spoken sessions? What is your opinion?
Absolutely. I think in places like Johannesburg, there's definitely more of a scene and more of a competitive scene as well. There's incredible platforms like Wooden, where people can go on a monthly basis, they can perform, they can compete, they can win cash prizes. Even in Pretoria, there are things like Hear My Voice, there's Fresh Impressions, which happens in Joburg and Pretoria. So there's CSP as well. So there are movements that are there. They are doing the things, and they are putting poets forward. My biggest interest is sort of getting poets paid better eventually. If it's not by us, hopefully getting them gigs, getting them booked by corporates, getting them onto TV, into ads, whatever. But we need to then make sure that the poets are getting more and more refined and getting more and more exposed to those spaces and places. And I think people are waking up to the idea that poets really fill in well, whether it's on a podcast or whether it's on an ad and where corporate struggle and event organizers struggle is, where do we find them? And that's why we want to create a network and a platform that it's easy to find the poets when they want to get booked for stuff.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite parts about the spoken sessions culture is that you guys aren't just giving a platform for artists, you're also very intentional about respecting them by paying them. And that just increases the quality, I think, which is just amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So who thus far has been your favorite spoken word artist via the spoken session platform?
Ooh, now you're gonna get me into trouble.
Yeah, man. It's like watching a movie. You either like Lady Gaga or not.
Somebody that has held it down over the years is Kaziso Zili. He is one of the most innovative poets and one of the most powerful and passionate humans I've ever come across. Musically, she is a tiny packet of punch. She's a jazz singer. She does and she writes her own things. And those two, there's many more, there's definitely many more, but those two individuals definitely represent what it's all about, because they're lovely people as well. So it's always great to work with engage with and be friends with and hang out with, but also who have so much talent in them. And yeah, they're definitely pushing their work quite hard. So I definitely look up to.
Can you give their names again?
One is Kabi Sovili, and the other one is Kirsten Day.
Shout out to you.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So explain explain the open mic events to us. What is the process of this event? And I know there's one in March as well, right?
100%. The open mic is on the 28th of March.
Ooh.
Yeah, so it's nice and soon. So the open mic, it changed. So how it used to run was you'd come, 10 people to put their names on the list to perform. We'd pass a cup around in the audience and people could give donations. And at the end of the night, the winner of that open mic would get what's in the cup.
Yeah.
We then realized that making it a competitive space meant that not everybody was willing to put their name on the list or perform, because they thought they had to be at a certain level before they could engage with us.
Yeah.
So then we've removed the competitive element. Now it's a matter of, no matter who you are, pitch on the night and just jump on stage as soon as there's a free moment. So it happens at Bravo Pizza in Hatfield.
Yeah.
And it happens from 6 p.m. to 8:30. So it's really open. It's $40 to get in. There's pizza. You can bring your own wine. You can bring your own beer.
And it's amazing atmosphere
it's just a good
there.
hangout. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think we'll definitely come and make a turn there. I love pizza and wine, and that together combined with some art.
Yeah, that will be his first time.
Absolutely.
No pressure. No, I'm kidding.
No, we'd love
Well, I
to have
wasn't
you.
saying I was going to go on this stage and take the mic and do poetry. I don't think I'm
Hey, did you not hear her? Just rock up and have your poem.
But I think what I love about the
Exactly.
but I think what I love about the Spoken Sesh events is that it presents a merging of art forms, including poets and musicians. And I wouldn't be surprised if you have brought some artists to the stage. Can you tell us more about this and how the different art forms promote each other at the event, for instance?
One of our favorite things to do when we used to have sessions at SMARC, we used to, at the end of the night, get the poets and the musicians to collaborate spontaneously. So they hadn't rehearsed before. And just seeing the magic that happens there. And then you see the conversations afterwards of, hey, we should do something together, or we should collaborate more. And it's always artists from different backgrounds as well. You'll get a complete Afrikaans band. You'll get like a strong black female poet coming together. Now they have to collaborate and make something, which is really cool. We've seen people do sort of duos, poetic duos, people asking others, hey, can I film you? I'm a videographer. I'd be so love to connect with you and get you into my film. We've even seen people like donate their guitars to somebody who doesn't have a guitar. So that's been really cool for us to see the cross-pollination from different art forms and seeing the continuation of the conversation post the event, where we obviously don't have control of it or anything. And that's magical because it happens spontaneously, which is really cool.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I think my favorite part about that is your platforms, and also with regards to back to your open mic, is that you guys can actually sort of scout artists. You guys can scout, other people can scout potential talent, and it just gives them exposure, for one. Two, other than it being a career, which is amazing, that opportunity, it's also an opportunity to release, a poetry or spoken word as a, psychological or therapeutic situation, and people relate. So I'm totally into this.
It sounds amazing. I love the platform. I love it.
Yes. Okay, so now more about the poetry queen, #Puno. When and why? Yeah, I'm putting you on the spot.
In the spotlight.
In the spotlight. No, if you see her, this girl has got such a nice smile. You can spot her from a mile away.
I saw in that very nice picture.
We're going to make her blush. You must be glad you're not in studio. When and why did you start writing poetry and pursuing a career in poetry?
So I started writing poetry when I was about in grade 9 or grade 10, and I wanted to do something for variety concert or the talent show at school. And I sort of had an image of like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if there was a ballerina on stage, or and a poet and a musician like doing like, I don't know, something.
Collaboration, yeah.
So I looked for a bunch of poems online, and I was like, yeah. And I couldn't find anything that I thought would work. I tried to do Tokwaze, Shange, the for colored girl poems, and it didn't work out. So I was like, hey, let me just try and write my own stuff. And up to that point, I'd already been journaling quite a bit. So I had all my journal entries started to have like poetic elements or whatever. So I wrote a poem, I performed at the talent show, and I loved it. I really, really, really loved it. And I saw the response that people were giving in terms of how it had touched their lives or had made them think differently. So even though it was mainly to help me process my own thoughts and feelings and experiences and things like that, I loved the conversations that it was starting with people and how I was able to connect with people. And then I kind of just kept going, and then people kept asking me to do stuff, and each new request was a new challenge because people want different themes for different stages, and it was a very, very interesting time. And I'm never going to look back.
That's amazing. So what would you say has been your career highlight, Mrs. Poetry Queen?
Career highlights. I think definitely getting asked to perform in Germany for a conference called Republica. GIZ, which is a German organization based here in South Africa, wanted to advocate for female rights in the digital space because there's still a huge gender digital divide, and they wanted to do a slam poetry thing around that. So in order to write that poem, I got a bunch of women together to be like, what are you experiencing in the workplace? What do you struggle with? And based on that conversation, I think there was about 12 or 15 women in my mom's house at the dining room table, just like sharing their stories. I put together a poem, and I presented it to a whole bunch of Germans, which was really cool. Yeah.
And the titles of some of those were like, if I can remember correctly, it was She and To Be Human Again, right?
100%, exactly. So She was the one that was specifically for the advocating for female inclusion in the digital space. And then To Be Human Again was basically speaking about the dissonance that happened in the social media space. I love social media with all of me, but just being aware of how, if we're going to use this tool, we need to be human about how we use this tool and how we interact. Because otherwise the opposite effects can really, really be negative for our own sort of health and mental health and things like that, and just for society as a whole. So yeah, it was really cool to be able to have performed both of those.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, I have to ask. I know I'm going to break your heart now, but what is your favorite poem that you have written or performed thus far?
Favorite poem that I've written or performed thus far? I'll have to say it's Daughter. And the reason I say that is like, I wrote Daughter when I was 21, and I performed, or just before I turned 21, and I performed it at my 21st birthday. And that poem was like a love letter to myself. To the self that had struggled with who she was, who had struggled to figure out her identity and love how she had been created. And seeing how that has translated to be a love letter to other Black girls out there has been incredible, and the response has been overwhelming. So again, it's that thing that it started from a really personal and authentic space, and I shared it, and how it impacted people in their own lives was really great. And a side note to that is just to encourage other people that it's good to share your story and good to share your experiences. Yeah. You have no idea how it's going to impact and help the next person.
I agree. You never know when your testimony can be someone else's breakthrough.
I think it's always important to inspire other people, and I think that's exactly what you're doing, is you're inspiring other people through your work. Speaking about inspire, do you have any advice or tips for aspiring poets and event planners?
Yes. So for poets, it's definitely
lay it down.
I love this. For poets, it's to definitely keep writing and don't stop. Even if you feel like, oh, I'm not going through something big and monumental that requires a poem right now. Write about the everyday and mundane things, because it's like a muscle that you have to keep exercising, because the more you do it, the fitter you get. Try and collaborate with other people as much as possible, and try and perform as much as possible if that's what you want to do, because you only get better in that way. And don't be afraid when you don't get the best response from an audience. The response from an audience is not necessarily an indication of how good or bad your poem is.
Agreed.
It means it didn't resonate with that specific group at that
definitely.
time. For event planners, the devil's in the detail. The more attention to detail you pay to an event, the better it will be. I always tell people, map out in your head what is the person who's attending your event experiencing from the moment that they see this thing on social media to the moment that they arrive to the duration of the event till they leave. They need to feel like they've been taken care of every single step of the way, or things have been thought out. And have fun, of course. That's always important.
Oh, cool. Thank you so much. What other events or project initiatives are you collaborating with at the moment, or potentially?
So at the moment, I have been co-working on 2 days a week at a place called Molo Molo in also Pretoria CBD, also the 012 Central Precinct. They're incredible. They believe in the city. They believe in people so much. And they also have a cinema club that they do every second Thursday of the month, which is incredible because they show a whole bunch of independent films, which again is something that like Pretoria doesn't do. It doesn't showcase those kind of cool and random artsy places. So I'm trying to get involved in that community. And also the Park Exchange, we do community talks and community dinners. We haven't started for 2019 yet, but if people can find that on social media, they'll definitely find out when the next one is happening.
Great. I actually saw you most at Molo Molo.
Yes. We had a good run in.
It's an amazing platform as well, and I definitely think it's, with regards to a vision and regards to community and passion for people, it's definitely doing something like spoken sessions. Yes.
Absolutely.
Now, jumping back to the spoken session platform, you also have an initiative running for community individuals or groups called Fun for Friends, #FFF. Tell us more about that sprung into play and your latest projects.
So Fun for Friends started because there were friends of ours that really wanted to go and do some community service in a different country, but they needed to raise funds for that. So then we put on a show. We got a whole bunch of poets and musicians and whatever to then raise funds for them. And also one of the co-founders of Spoken Sessions was stuck overseas with no money. And we were like, hey, let's put on a show and send cash over. And it's changed and evolved again since then, and now has become a jam session. Because when I was in Germany, I stumbled upon a jam session at like midnight, and I was like, "Whoa, this is amazing! It's a whole bunch of artists just spontaneously playing music. We should do this in South Africa." And we did. So that's the format that we do, and we're going to do a Fun for Friends at least once a year. Bunch of musicians and poets are welcome to come and join in, and all the funds are going to go to a good cause or a friend, and it's a friend who's a friend to Spoken Sessions specifically. And that's kind of how we run that.
Yes, I completely love that project. I remember one of them that I was for was Del Nquito, I think. And you guys was raising funds for her tour because the band wanted to go on tour. So I'm really inspired by this whole platform.
Yeah.
So being a woman of so many projects, skills and talents, tell us, how do you manage it all and still keep a balanced life? You know, managing family and social aspects of your life and leaving room to still be inspired despite your workload.
Yeah. So I think balance, or finding balance, is probably the hardest thing I've ever had to try and do. But it's something that you can only get right, in inverted commas, by being intentional and by scheduling things like rest and scheduling things like exercise and sleep as if it was like a job, as if it was, like an unmovable thing on your schedule. And also just learning to say no. Like I've had to learn the hard way that I am my most important person and my most important client. And if I am not healthy, and if I'm not in a good head, heart, and physical space, then everything else is going to fall apart anyway.
Yeah.
So it's really just a matter of being intentional, being strict, and really doing the things that fulfill you, and that make your heart sing. Because I've also noticed that if I force myself to do something that doesn't resonate with me, I'm going to do a really bad job, or it's just going to end up draining me more than it's going to end up helping me. So yeah, those are kind of my little principles.
Amen. Amen. So, what had ignited your fiery passion to create and consistently inspire people, especially seeing that you're so driven towards stances of community upliftment in one way or the other, and you being so reserved yet a rather bubbly and encouraging human being yourself?
Quote unquote Shantae.
I think thank you for that, by the way. I think I've always had a passion for justice and a passion for restoring dignity to people, because what I've realized is that when people have their dignity back, and when people have confidence in themselves, and when people feel like they are seen and that they're important, and that people enjoy them and enjoy their presence, etc., and they're not just enduring them, I see how they light up and how they contribute more to the world. And just having seen that, I just feel like it's so important to do. It's so important to invest in people and to unlock those things in people in all these various different ways. And having experienced that myself for a long time, having felt very unseen, and then coming into my own groove, and then sort of, feeling like my dignity had been restored. I know what it feels like, and I think it's important to spread that to other people. So I feel like I'm just naturally hardwired this way. So yeah.
I knew a few of our species. It's okay. Okay, so what is next for Poet Puno?
Sure. That is a very good question. I was actually thinking about this yesterday. I was like, what am I doing this year? So I want to be able to do my one-woman show once again, but in Johannesburg this time, because I've done it in Pretoria, and hopefully taking it to Cape Town. As much as I do have a full-time job, I do want to carry on sort of doing freelance work in the copywriting space and the voice-over space, and eventually even TV presenting and things like that. But that's it's a long journey. And actually performing in new spaces, new open mics, developing new material, and hopefully one day I'll release a book. I'm really excited about that.
Ooh, excited. Watch the space, people. Watch the space.
Okay, cool. So that concludes our Q&A part of the interview for today. We have one more section left for you, Puno, if you dare. Haha.
So before we greet Puno, it is time for our all-time favorite game, Oh Snap. For those first-time listeners, every week our guests participate in a little game where we throw random words at the guest for 60 seconds, and he or she needs to answer with a relevant word as quick as possible and to get as many words as they can within 60 seconds.
So I think we're going to just push it up a bit because there's a delay on this phone call. So would you say 60 seconds times 2?
Maybe let's make it, because the delay isn't that bad, let's make it like 60, make it 70 or 80 seconds.
Okay, cool. So now remember, you cannot say pass, you have to answer. If you answer wrong, so meaning you say something irrelevant to the word, or given that you take longer than, let's say, 10 seconds, the word falls out and you lose that point. So then you'll be interrupted by an oh snap. So we're quickly going to demonstrate for you so that it's not too intense.
Okay, so it will be something like... Give me words. Something.
Okay, t-shirt.
Nike.
Music.
Guitar.
Bottle.
Water.
Yellow.
Sun?
Yeah, so you just something like that. Does it make sense?
Sure, yeah. I mean, this is before my cup of coffee in the morning, but let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it. Let's do
3,
it. Let's do it.
2, 1, go. Color.
Pink.
Fruit.
Apple.
Cell phone.
Nokia.
Bag.
Sling bag.
Awesome. Socks.
What? What was that word?
Socks.
Oh, pull up.
Flower.
Crown.
Poem.
Written.
Marvel.
Iron Man.
Oh, cool.
Toothbrush.
Toothpaste.
Clothing brand.
Zara. Wow.
Industry inspiration.
Wow. I have no idea.
Oh, snap.
Oh snap. Month.
Cash.
Okay. Magazine.
True love.
Film.
Molo molo. Yay.
Transport.
Taxi.
Last meal you had.
I had French toast.
2019.
Inspiration.
Water.
Important.
Cold.
Did you say cold?
Yes,
Oh,
cold.
snap.
And time is up.
Well done. I think you did really well considering the
Ooh,
delay.
thank you. All the pressure.
You were so entertaining, though.
Pressure.
But this whole game just showed me how analytical your brain is. And very strategic your brain is.
Absolutely.
And I think we're
Absolutely.
definitely going to play this game again. If I come to Spoken Sessions or one of the events, I'm going to just do like a YouTube little situation just to give you another chance.
Absolutely. I feel like I need redemption on this one.
And that concludes our episode for today. Thank you, Puno, for taking our interview call. It has been exciting to hear from you and all your industry adventures. I really hope you have a fantastic week and blessings for the year.
Thank you guys so much. It was really, really cool to hang
It
out
was
with you guys.
fantastic to have you in studio. Ladies and gents, you can follow her on her career, projects, and journey on social media. It is at Puno Polis on Instagram, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And it's at Puno Selesho Poetry on Facebook and at Puno P-O-O-N-O on Twitter.
So that's 4 O's in the middle.
It's Puno.
That's right.
Yes. Okay, and don't forget to follow all the exciting things on today's episode on our social media at Let's Talk Showbiz.
Thank you so much for joining us for another fantastic episode of Let's Talk Showbiz right here on Brand Live at the 27 Boxes. We want to thank all of our listeners for tuning in every Friday and helping us make this show rather spectacular.
Yes. We have some news. This will be our last episode at the heart of 27 Boxes. Brand Live is moving to a new studio.
Yes, but don't despair. We will release a weekly podcast every Friday with our favorite industry news and guest interviews until we jump back onto the live feed in our new studio.
I think it's time for an adventure.
Yes.
Yes, keep tabs on our social media as we update you on the next platform and episode releases for Let's Talk Showbiz. Exciting!
Our quote for the day: creativity is the way I share my soul with the world, said by Bren Brown.
Yes, I love it. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget it's a good life. Creativity is our voice. Live a life open to be inspired. Share your craft and inspire anyone. Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Guess who got brands talking? Brandlive.co.za Harnessing the power of talk radio. Brandlive.co.za